What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Files Reacts, where we talk about our favorite movies, shows, and video games. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe, and today we're chatting about Yellowjackets Season 2 on
Ooh.
Showtime, specifically episodes 1 through 4. Those are the ones that have been released up to this point. So we'll be talking about our thoughts so far for the second season. If you'd like to help us out, consider hitting the subscribe and like buttons to help grow the channel. If you'd like to reach out to us, our Twitter and Discord are linked in the description below, as well as the link to our main channel. If you're into like books and stuff like that, we'll talk about that in the outro. But with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what we've been like watching or playing lately. Have you and Leah been watching any shows besides Yellowjackets lately? Has there been anything else?
Um, no. There hasn't really been time, but
Hmm.
she's downstairs right now watching a show that she said she thinks you would like and I would like.
Oh,
And it is called, the name of the show is From, From.
from.
She's like, it's a mixture of kind of suspense, a little bit of horror, but also like really good characters.
Okay.
Kind of just to simplify what she texted me here, but she's on episode 3 right now, and she says it's really good and that I would like it. She's like, Spencer would
Okay.
probably like it too. So, anyways, she's watching that. I haven't really been watching much of anything. Me and Spencer together have been playing Borderlands 3, which
Yes.
has been so much fun. And sometimes during the week, it's all I can think about.
Yeah.
So, seriously,
Yeah.
like, I just want to come home and play this game with Spencer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it when a game just like gets into your head and like you're
Yeah,
thinking about it during the day at work. Um,
exactly. And you're like, how can I get the next best gun or whatever, dude? It's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, I think the last time I felt that way about a game was when I started Fallout 4 this
Ooh,
last
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And for a long time it was just like I literally, because it was the first time I had ever played it. Like
Well,
I
have you
didn't
have you
play
played
it.
any Fallout games, like, at all?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I played Fallout 3
Yeah.
on, I think, the Xbox
Yep,
360 back in the
yep.
day. I don't think I ever played New Vegas, and I have that downloaded on my
Nice.
PS4
New
right
Vegas
now.
is good, really
Yeah,
good.
so I'm excited to hop into New Vegas. But yeah, Fallout 4, this was like the first time ever
Yeah.
playing that. I didn't play it when it first came out. Man, it was like it was a close thing some days where I
Mm.
was like, I just want to call in sick to work and play this
Yeah.
game
Yeah,
all
dude.
day.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a near thing.
Yes.
I don't think I ever did, but it was close.
Yep, that's
Um,
totally fair.
but one that I've been playing recently, or I guess just like this last week, because this last week I've been cramming. We've been reading Cradle for the main podcast, a fantasy series called Cradle, and I needed something that I could play that I didn't have to like pay attention to too much, that I could just like listen to my audiobook and play that. So I got into Mafia 1,
Ooh,
the remaster,
yeah.
and man, it is incredible, dude. Like it is so good. The story is so amazing. The gameplay is super fun. It's just like the graphics. You like this game came out on the original Xbox
Yeah.
and they completely remastered it and made
Yes.
it look like modern day graphics. And I never played it before because by the time I got into the Mafia games with Mafia 2, like Mafia 1 was already really old at that point.
Mhm.
So hopping into it this time, there's like some outdated mechanics and stuff like that, but it's really not too bad. It's
Yeah.
really not any different than playing something like The Last of Us or something like that. Just everything they've done with the graphics is so impressive and so incredible. There's like ray tracing and
Wow.
all the cars are like shiny and it's really cool. So I've been really happy with that. And the story is just so good. Like it feels like you're playing like a gangster movie. Like
Nice.
I love
Nice.
it. Did you ever play the first one?
No, I never played the first, but I played the second several times.
Yeah, same here.
Yep.
The Mafia 2 is like one of my favorite
Oh, dude,
games
incredible,
of all time.
incredible.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. And I would say like if you like Mafia 2, like Mafia 1 is the exact same thing. Like
dude,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I think you just sentenced me to
I
hours and
know.
hours of fucking ruthless video game playing,
I
dude.
know.
Seriously, I'm already thinking. I'm like, all right, I'll put that in my thing tonight. I'll
Yeah.
download it. Ah, man, yeah, that's awesome.
It's so good. I think and that's the thing that's so funny is cuz like I said, you know, by the time I got into Mafia 2, Mafia 1 was like old. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'll probably just never
it
play that
is.
cuz
Yeah,
it's
it's old,
super
dude,
old."
for sure. Yeah,
But jumping into it now, I'm like, "Oh, this is like everything I loved about Mafia 2." Like literally
yeah,
everything I loved about Mafia 2. So, yeah, I think that you'll have a really good time with that.
awesome.
Other than that, yeah, I haven't been watching any other TV besides Yellowjackets, because there's just no time.
Yeah, yeah, it's all consuming, dude.
Yeah. But I have been getting into a lot of different YouTube channels lately.
Ooh,
You and I were talking a little earlier about game ranks,
yep.
and for the first time ever, really, I've gotten into the game ranks channel, and for a long time, you know, their thumbnails were like their whole thing was that their reviews were called before you buy, and it has the guy going like, wait, hold up. And so I always thought it was like, wait, you don't actually want to buy this game, listen to all the bad stuff I have to say about it. And it
Dude,
turns out that that's not what it is at
nope.
all. And they put out videos every single day with just like random topics like our favorite like top 10 things that happened in video games over the past 10 years or whatever and stuff like that. And so every day I have a video to watch.
Yep.
Sometimes two. And so
Yeah.
I'll get home from work and that'll be like the first thing I do is I'll pull up game ranks and I'll just watch whatever that day's game ranks video was, and I'm liking it a lot.
For a little bit of context here, I used to work for Spencer's Construction. He owned a
Mm,
construction company, and I worked for him for this was years and years ago for a while.
hmm.
And while I was working, that's all I would do was listen to game ranks.
Oh, really? I
Different.
didn't know that.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Nice.
And I remember telling you a couple times, you're like, yeah, I don't really like game ranks or whatever,
Yeah.
and back and forth. And so it's kind of cool to see that you like it now because it's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Their
it's
shit
so
is
good.
incredible. I
And
watched one the other day. It was like 10 best bad guy lines. You know, it was like
oh,
just like
nice.
the best bad guy lines that were ever. And I was like, this is cool, dude.
Yeah.
I love this shit.
Yeah, they're great and they're often like really funny cuz you have
Falcon, baby.
Falcon and
Yes, Falcon's awesome, dude.
Falcon.
Dude, there's such a big community trying to find out who he is.
Oh, does nobody know who he is?
No, he's super secretive. Yeah. Yeah,
Whoa.
dude.
That's
Yeah, you can Google
crazy.
it. You will not find out who he is. It's pretty funny.
Dang, that's funny, dude. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have Falcon and then they have like Jake Balladino or whatever.
Yep.
And he's really funny. And I think just like the way that they like the way they do their editing and the way that they use that to like throw jokes in there and
Yep.
they bring like memes up and stuff. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it's good
So
stuff.
all right, well that's probably it for me. So let's talk about Yellow Jackets on
Ooh.
Showtime. This is a show that I got you into a few weeks ago now, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And by the way, guys, we're gonna go into spoilers. So spoilers for all of season one, and then season two up to where we are now, which is we just finished episode four. That was at the time of recording. That's the last episode to
Yeah.
be released. So if you don't want to be spoiled, and I recommend that you should not be spoiled on this show, then definitely, you know, turn away now if you haven't seen it. But if you have, welcome, hang out with us while we chat about it. But this is your official spoiler warning in three, two, one. You've been warned. All right. So yeah, we started watching Yellow Jackets together a few weeks ago. And at first, you and I were kind of, you know, watching a couple episodes here and there. together, and then I was just like, dude, if you want to just like watch this with Leah, like
Yeah.
just go for it. And you guys binged it, and
Dude.
there's like no better feeling than getting the occasional text of like, I can't believe what I just saw on this fucking
Yep,
show.
dude.
Because it is like, especially like, I feel like the second season is like a lot more not lighthearted, but a lot more like funny than the first season
Yeah.
was. And the first season, you do have like your quirky characters, but I feel like the first season was really dark.
Yeah,
Like,
very serious the whole time.
yeah,
Yep.
it's not scary in the way that like you would expect, like when you sit down to watch a horror movie like The Conjuring or something.
Yeah.
It's not scary like that, but it's just like
It's
it's
jarring.
it's jarring, and
Yeah.
it's just unnerving enough to make you not feel completely comfortable
Yes.
while you're
Yes.
watching. You feel like anything could happen at
Yep.
any moment. Especially after you get like halfway through the first season, it's like, okay, like they're playing with us. Like they're
Yeah.
like not everything we see is real, and we're gonna get some jump scares and whatnot. And so I'm interested to get your kind of fresh opinion, having just like you binged the first season in like
Yep.
a week.
Binge the fuck out of it, dude.
And
Yep.
so I'm
Like 2
interested
or
to
3
see,
episodes a night.
yeah. And so I'm interested to see what what has drawn you in about Yellow Jackets, like for you and Leah, like what's been
Yep.
the draw for from the show.
Yeah, so I can definitely say for both of us because we have the same kind of feeling on it. First of all, it's the idea of the show is something that you don't see often, right? It's very unique. Plane crash, victims trapped, that's in and of itself is already interesting.
Yeah.
And then watching these teenagers, that are like primpy, like, school mascot chicks or whatever,
Yeah.
and the coach, of course,
Yeah.
try and survive in the wilderness. That could be a show by itself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No weirdness. Like
Yeah.
that could just be a show.
Right.
But then you start to add in this other element of like secrecy and mysticism and powers that like you can't readily
Explain.
explain,
Yeah.
by yourself. It's just really cool, man. Like I've enjoyed it so much, and it is like just one of those things where you like you said, you never know. You
Yeah.
never ever know what's gonna
Right.
happen. Because there's times where I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna happen, and then the polar opposite is what takes place shortly after.
Right.
It's just one of those things where you just don't know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we've enjoyed it a lot. I've enjoyed it a lot. Uh it's kind of refreshing, man, because like you see TV and cinema and whatever, and it can become kind of something that
Samey.
expect, something that you
Yeah.
expect. And so seeing something that is something you cannot expect,
Yeah.
in your wildest dreams is really cool.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it there. I think that this is like, and I don't know how exactly to phrase this, but it's almost like this is like the most original show out right now, but it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
kind of not, because like the idea of people getting trapped
It's
somewhere and
been
having to
around.
survive,
Yeah,
it's been around, but they put such a unique spin on it,
yeah.
where it's like, especially not just with like the mysticism and like some of the supernatural aspects of it, but also just like the characters in general. Like the characters in the show are, as a whole, not good people.
Yeah.
Like none of these girls are like a shining example of
Except for what's do you remember her name?
I think it was Laura. Was she the Christian
Laura
girl?
or Lorelai?
Yeah, it might be Laura Lee. I think
Okay,
maybe
yeah.
something like
She
that.
was a shining example.
Yes, she was a paragon of virtue for sure. And then I guess like maybe the guys like Travis and the coach, like they're
Yeah,
they're kind of like good guys all around.
yeah.
But the girls, the majority of them
They're
are,
just naughty, dude.
dude,
Like
they
they're
are
just full of
naughty.
secrets and full of fucking lies, dude. All of them.
Yeah. And I was kind of thinking as we were watching this tonight, I was this is like, this is almost like modern day grimdark,
Mm,
because like it's like this hopeless situation, like this hopeless world, if you
Yeah.
will. And then all of the characters that inhabit that are just the worst people.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's really similar to Grimdark in a lot of ways. And I think that that's why I enjoy it. And how I actually found this show was I had paid for Showtime for a short period of time when Dexter New Blood had come out.
Oh,
And it was around that time that I was like, I never had Showtime before. I just got it this one time for Dexter, and Dexter ended, and I still had another like month of Showtime,
yeah.
and pretty much almost all of season one had come out by that point. I think there was still like 2 episodes left to go,
Yeah.
and while I was watching Dexter, I kept getting this ad for Yellowjackets. And at first I was like, that looks stupid. I'm not going to watch that. And then over time, they kept showing, like, how they have like
Oh, yeah.
two
Oh,
or
yeah.
2 or 3 different ads for the same show. And by the time I had seen them all, I was like, oh, is this something that I would like? And so when Dexter ended, it left such a massive gaping hole in my heart that I was like, I need to fill that somehow. And so I went on to watch Yellow Jackets, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I need. And I fell in
Nice.
love with it almost immediately, like right from the first episode.
Nice.
Um, and I think that the music is so good. I love the music in this show. It's very kind of like 90s alternative because it's set in the
Yeah.
90s. And I love that aspect too because I grew up in the 90s.
Yep.
And so I love everything about this show and just kind of how it feels in general. The first season completely blew me away because there was just so many twists and turns that I didn't expect. Like Adam, at first you think he is the one blackmailing everybody. There's like a lot
Yep.
of evidence to say that he's the one blackmailing all the people. And even before that, you're trying to figure out like what is this postcard, and it was so interesting. And then you have Misty, who has just become like this horrible person. She's like this nurse that treats her patients like crap in the retirement home. And then you get Natalie, both like the early version of her and then
Oh,
you see
yeah.
the later version of her. The later version of her is the adult version of her is so sad because it's like look at what she's turned into, and she was
Yeah.
such a cool character when she was young. She's also a cool character when she's old,
Yeah.
but there's just so much that's happened in the meantime that has just absolutely destroyed her. And it's just interesting to see how all these people turned out and how this time in the wilderness affected them. And I just think it's so cool to see and how it all kind of interconnects. And as you get the bigger and bigger picture, you see how they got to that place. And I don't know. I love the character work in this show. I think it's top notch.
Absolutely. I think you just said it. How they turned out.
Mhm.
That could be the quote for the show.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. It's how they got to present day. And I like that it doesn't just show you them in like present day and then like mostly focus on the time when
Yeah.
they were young. Like there are separate mysteries going on both in the present day
Yeah.
and in the past, and somehow it all connects. But you don't know how, and so I like that both storylines are so compelling that whether we're in the past or the present, I don't mind. Like
Yep.
I'm never like, "Oh, wait, I wanted more of the past," or
No,
"I
yeah.
wanted more of the
It's
present."
all good.
Yeah, both of them are like so compelling, and I think that it takes some really good writers and showrunners to pull that off. So, what have you enjoyed most about season 2 so far?
Very good question. I think that I've most of what I've enjoyed is figuring it out.
Yeah.
Seeing where some people are that we haven't seen before,
Mhm.
such as Lottie, seeing where she is, what
Yeah.
she's doing, and why she's doing what she's doing. And so yeah, I think just kind of finding out the aftermath of everybody, not just Shauna and Thaisa, everybody that was involved that's still alive, kind of seeing where they're at, why they're doing what they're doing, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting to introduce Lottie because I
Yes.
think that at the end of season 1 we found out that she's still alive.
Hmm.
And that's kind of also been the interesting thing about this show too, is that from the beginning, like, they give you like three characters
Yeah.
basically. They give you Natalie, they give you Shauna, and they give you Misty.
Yep.
And other than that, you don't know who's alive until a couple episodes in, and then you see
Thaisa.
Thaisa.
Yeah.
So then those are kind of your four for the first season, and then you find out that Travis is still alive or was.
Yep. And everybody slowly gets together. Everybody
Yeah.
slowly reaches out and, one way, shape, or form, and kind of gets.
Yeah, it doesn't happen super quickly. It's
No.
kind of
Yeah.
like this thing where they're all learning to like trust each other
Yep.
again. And even now, I still wouldn't say that they all trust each other
No.
because,
Yeah.
and
I think that Shauna and Thaisa and Natalie would be the three that trust. I think that Misty's kind of like she's a wild card, dude.
yeah, and but even with them, I kind of wonder because like you look at them and it's like, okay, they spent I think it's a year and a half that they
Yeah.
spent out in the
Yep.
woods.
18 months
Yeah. And it's like you have seen everybody there eat
at their
people.
yeah at their
Yeah.
lowest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
have you have seen everybody do horrible shit.
Yep.
So when you come back to the real world, like, how can you ever trust them? Like
Good point. Good point.
there's no way.
Very good point.
And so it's interesting to see their interactions where it's like you can tell that they're on the same side kind of,
Yeah.
but at the same time they're like, I don't trust you, but I kind of have to trust you for
Yeah.
now. It's just like this really cool dynamic.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of been the fun thing, is just like seeing the dynamic between all of the characters. And in the past, it's kind of happening gradually. Like we haven't really gotten to the part where they've
Yeah.
all screwed each other over yet. But in the future, it's well past that.
Yep.
And so we see the fallout of that. And I love the differences there.
Yeah.
And then as we were talking about, as we go into season 2, Lottie is kind of the centerpiece of
Hmm.
what we've seen so far in
Yep.
season 2, and her whole compound, and this kind of cult
Colt.
like
Yeah.
following that she has. And we also see that everybody is kind of, maybe not everybody, but a lot of them are dealing with some of the weird, like, mystical aspects of what they
Yeah.
experienced in the wilderness. We get Thaisa, who's kind of like fading in and out. And I love this trope so much. I love whenever there's like a movie or a TV show or something where somebody keeps like missing periods of time
Yeah.
and they keep like coming in and out of it.
Dude,
I
there was such a
love
cool
that.
movie that we saw recently. It's called Memory.
Oh.
It's about a hitman that has Alzheimer's.
Oh shit.
He's like a top grade like cartel hitman, and he starts forgetting what he's doing. It's really good. Sorry,
Oh, dude, I'll have to check that
dude.
out.
It's got Liam Neeson. He's the main character. It's incredible.
Oh, okay. I'll
Yeah.
definitely check that out. But yeah, I love that trope so much, and I think it always, as long as the writers can use it to good effect, I think that
Yeah.
it's always like a pretty good idea. And then we get Lottie, who isn't quite having the same thing, although they're pretty similar because Thaisa is seeing some like hallucinations and
Yeah.
stuff. But we get Lottie, who's like really seeing some
Yeah.
hallucinations. Like I think the first one, yeah, maybe one of the first ones that she sees in the present day again is the bees, and like
Yep.
all the bees are dead and there's all the blood everywhere. She kind of like has to focus, and then the blood goes away and it's
Yeah.
not real. And then in the episode that you and I just watched together, episode 4, with the she's going through the little piece of
The
paper
cards, like
and the
yeah, the Queen of
cards.
Hearts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that in and of itself is kind of sobering in the fact that like she's portrayed as this almighty cult leader, right? Like she's got hundreds of
Yeah.
people that follow her all the time, everything she does. And so seeing her kind of weak in the sense that like she knows her mind is going a
Mhm.
certain way and she's got all these people looked after for her was kind of cool because like I always thought she was already crazy. Like she's been seeing shit for 25 years.
Yeah.
That's why she has this cult.
But
But it makes me think that like she really is trying to like help these people, but she is
yeah.
losing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was thinking too, is that actually over the past, like, 15 years or whatever,
Yeah.
she's been, fairly like stable.
Yeah.
And then it's only recently that all this stuff is
Yes.
coming back.
Yes.
And I think that that is why we're seeing, because I was kind of wondering, like, why wouldn't we have one storyline where they're on the island, or not the island, but like the wilderness, when they're all like, 17 or 18 or whatever.
Mhm.
And then one storyline where it's like 5 years later or
Yeah.
10 years later. Like, why like 20 years later or whatever it
Yeah.
is? And I think that there's some sort of event that is happening that is causing all this weird stuff to
For
happen
sure.
at
Like
this
like a
specific
like a
time.
convergence. Yeah.
Right. And so I think that there's definitely something going on with that, because up until this point, Thaisa seemed like she was fine too.
Yeah.
And so it's just now that all this weird stuff is starting to happen with her. So in season two, I'll just kind of highlight some moments that I liked from these we're not going to go like episode by episode, but I'll
Yeah.
just I'll just pull some things. So Shauna is talking to Jackie in the first
Oh,
couple
yeah.
episodes, and she's got like ghost Jackie. And Jackie, like, she was like a horrible person in some ways,
Yep.
but she was also one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to get her back for the first couple episodes where she appears as like this ghost. And I was like, okay, like, I'm glad we got her back. And when she died in season 1, that was like one of the most shocking moments
Dude,
of season
yes.
1.
That was heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah, and Leah was even saying, you and I were playing a video game or something, and she was like, does Jackie die? Does Jackie die in this season? I'm
Yeah.
like, I cannot tell you that. Like, that
Yeah.
would ruin so much for
Yeah.
you.
She figured it out though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Uh,
yes.
so yeah, did you guys have like any sort of reaction when that happened? That was like, because that was like a big episode.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 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 When they, acted a fool and shunned her from the group and she went out and just stubborn as fuck, she died in the snow. We were both like, "Oh my God, dude."
Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. Like just
Oh,
terrifying. I just can't even imagine how like Shauna or anybody else feels like knowing that they forced her out there. And mind you, like that could be a gray area. Like maybe
sure.
they didn't. Like she's got control over her own body, but like come on, dude. Like
Yeah.
they were fucking dicks. And mind
Yeah.
you, she's kind of a dick too, but
Sure.
not enough to be killed in the snow.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I hope that, we kind of saw in that fourth episode where, we have Natalie and Lottie kind of reconciling, and Natty, like, or Natty Natalie gets her into the tub and like tries to
Yep.
like clean her up and
Yep.
stuff. And so I hope that they're starting to learn from, that thing
Yeah.
with Jackie. It's like, okay, like, we can't, like,
Like our
this,
actions have severe consequences.
right, like, this
Yeah.
cabin is all we have, and we have to
Yes.
like find a way
Yeah.
to
No
to
matter
get
how
along.
much we hate the person next to us, like they have to live.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I have a question, and maybe
Yeah.
maybe we're not here yet. Here I'm gonna highlight really quick what I'm talking about. So when Natalie gets abducted, right? She gets
Yeah.
taken to this cult leader. This thing says Natalie stabbing the lady and trying to escape the cult hideout. Does she? The girl that was driving the car that we
Yeah.
saw, is that who was stabbed?
Yeah, she like, and I didn't realize at first that she like stabbed her in the eye, but she
Yeah.
definitely stabbed her in the hand.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and so I looking back on it, I wonder if she like stabbed her in the face and then stabbed her like
Moved it
down into the
down.
hand.
Okay. But it was pretty minor, right? Like, cause we saw her eye. It wasn't like her eye didn't get gouged out or anything. It was just
Right.
kind of a okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, her hand was definitely like
Fucked up, yeah.
she put the
Yep.
fork through her fucking hand.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that was just like a great moment. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my
You're
god,
like,
that's
"Dude,
so
that's
crazy."
Natalie for you, dude."
Yeah, yeah.
That's Natalie in a nutshell, stabbing somebody in the hand, Natalie.
Yeah, I love her as a
Yeah,
character
she's awesome.
so much. There was this stupid joke that I found funny. It was Shauna's husband in the first episode.
Oh
He
gosh.
says, "How do you get an art major off your front porch? You pay for the pizza."
Yeah. I
Thought
do
that was
remember that,
great.
yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, so then we get at the end of the first episode, we get young Shauna eating Jackie's ear, and this is kind of like
Oof.
the first like little bit of like cannibalism.
Yeah, that we see, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Super wild.
So in starting in episode 2, and maybe this came up in the first season, I'm not sure. But Thaisa, she's starting to see this super scary looking dude in the woods. The guy with no eyes.
Mhm. Oh
And
god, so scary.
dude, this will like literally haunt my dreams. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like
Yeah.
the first time I saw him, it was one of those things where it's like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like, you know,
Yep.
just that reaction.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that scared the shit out of me the first time. The first time I saw him. Because you kind of see him in the distance and he kind of blends in with the rest of the trees. And so like you're kind of looking at all these trees, and then when you finally see him, it's not like I liked it because it's not like a jump scare. Like he's there,
Yeah.
like he's been there the whole time.
It's
But
kinda
like
think the harder you look, the more frightening it is.
right, yeah. And so yeah, I just I love that moment where she's like kind of chasing him through the woods and you're getting these glimpses of him. He's just fucking terrifying.
Dude, yeah, sketchy. He'll come back too. We'll see him again. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure. So then we get Kevin the cop. He's showing up at
Oh, yeah.
Shauna's
Shauna's
residence
house,
and
dude.
asking some questions. That's got to be a big storyline that's going to play out
Oh, for
in
sure.
this season, I'm sure. This was my favorite thing from episode 2. We actually see Travis as an adult,
Yes.
and Lottie went to go see him the night that he died.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And you can see it like the notes that I have on the screen here are all like just I put them down just like as I was watching the scene play out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can see my train of thought. I was like, whoa, we see Travis as an adult. Lottie went to see him the night he died. Whoa, she helped him do it. And then I
Yeah, lift
said
his fucking legs up. Holy shit.
yeah, I'm like, lift his fucking legs up. And then but what the truth of it all is that she like he put his neck in the thing and then she started to lift it up, and then she had like this vision of the Christian girl Laura Lee or
Yeah.
whatever. She was like all dead and decayed and like coming towards
Yeah.
her and like and then did you see this weird thing where right after that she was like under the water and there was like this weird alien above the water. It was like this weird like deformed face, and it looked like an alien, and it was like looking
Whoa.
down into the water. Um
I missed that. I do
it,
not remember that.
yeah, it was super weird. I was like, I do not remember that. And then she snaps out of it, but by the time she does, it's been so much time
Yeah.
that he's been hanging for probably minutes.
Oh,
Um, and
fucked up,
so
dude.
and so it was kind of like yeah, it kind of was her fault. It kind of was. I don't know, man. It's a hard one for sure.
Well, dude, and Travis was gone, dude. Like, if
Yeah,
you hear him talking, he's like, he's like, just for a couple seconds. If I cut off my circulation, they'll be quiet and I won't hear him anymore. Just for a couple seconds. That's
that
all.
was weird,
Very
man.
adamant on not killing himself. Like it wasn't.
Yeah,
That's not why he was doing it. He was just trying to shut up this voice that was talking to him.
that's
Uh,
another weird thing. It's like, what was this voice in his head?
yeah.
We
Yep.
haven't really gotten that explained or anything,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I'm. So here's the thing. I'm excited to find out what all the supernatural elements are,
Yep.
but I kind of wonder if when those get revealed, will it still be like fun in the same way? Because the fun of it right now is trying to
The
figure it all
mystery.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For
And,
sure.
and so I kind of hope that they like, I don't want them to like string us along and like have it feel cheap. But at the same time, it's like, I like getting little reveals and just getting a little bit more information. Like I
Mhm.
don't want the whole mystery right now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I don't want all the answers right now. So
Yep.
I'm liking how slowly they're kind of
Yeah,
rolling
I
it out.
I think I think so far their track record is impeccable.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
done a very good job of not speeding anything along. And so
Yeah.
I cannot see that, and I would feel bad if it was. It would make me not like the show so much.
Yeah.
If like season 2 and even season 3, if they do it, I don't know if they will, but like
Yeah.
if it was like that, like just everything's out to the wind and now you're just dealing with this,
Right.
whatever it is, and you're like, "No, dude, I liked the fact that I didn't fucking know what was going on, you know? Like I
Right.
don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen." That's what's fun. That's
Yeah.
what's like intriguing about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then another thing that'll probably be a kind of a through line throughout this season, or maybe just over the next like 2 or 3 episodes, is Callie flirts with this guy Jay at the
Oh,
bar, and he
yes,
ends
dude. I
up
forgot about that.
yeah, he ends up
Yeah.
being an undercover cop.
Yes.
Then kind of going to the end of the episode, they cremate Jackie and they say goodbye to Javi. And man, that scene was so sad because I did not realize that they were keeping Jackie out in the shed.
Well, Shauna was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like, we have to like cremate her,
Yeah.
and just like Shauna was like putting makeup on her and like braiding her
Talking
hair
to
and
her for
posing,
hours. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like we're thinking that this is all happening with like just like a thing she sees in her head, like it's not
Yep.
really happening, but no, she's doing that to the dead
Literally
body.
doing it. Yeah.
Then we get to the end of the episode and this snow falls on Jackie right as it's like heating her up and
Yes,
everything.
dude. She's burning. She was caught on fire. Everybody's accepted the peace, walked inside, then all of a sudden you get this mysterious breath sound
Yeah.
and the snow falls and like it doesn't stop the cooking. It just stops it to a point,
Yeah, it
right? Like
stops it from burning.
yeah,
Yeah.
from burning. Yeah.
Yeah. And so basically she cooks and they wake up in the morning because it smells like bacon.
They wake up the ginger girl, whatever her name is, Thais's girlfriend,
Oh,
wakes
Van.
up. Yeah, because of that sound. She's like, "What the fuck is that?" and gets up. And then she like looks and everybody gets up and they go out. Everybody gets up and goes out
Yeah.
there. And then
Dude, that was one of the most like horrifying things I've seen on
dude,
television, I
I
think.
was thinking from coach's perspective. I'm like that dude, I would never ever want to be near one of those girls ever again.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Never.
and we
I would
see
I would rather go out on my own, dude.
yeah, we see him like he's terrified of
Oh, he's
them and all
mortified.
it's
Yeah,
just like
mortified.
oh my god, dude. And just this scene where it's kind of flashing back and forth between them.
This like dinner, like this opera dinner, right? Like this,
Yeah,
like
like
yeah,
this
that was a trip,
Roman,
dude.
like this
Yep.
Greek or whatever.
Yeah.
They're all in like the togas. They're all in togas.
Togas, okay.
And they're sitting down at the table and just like it looks like they're having this feast, and then it goes to like real life and they're just around this dead body
Just
with like
demolishing her,
just
dude.
like eating it,
Oh gosh,
and
yeah.
it's like what the fuck. It was just the most like I honestly think that's like the most horrifying thing I've seen on
Gruesome, dude.
television. It was so
Gruesome.
gnarly. And then one more thing I'll mention before we move on is Thais's kid didn't really come to her house. This is something that she just saw in her head. And then she ends up like calling her ex-wife and being like, "Hey, the kid's
It's her
here."
wife still.
Oh, are they not divorced?
Yeah. No, they're not divorced yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. She's like, "Hey, like this, the kid is over here and he walked here from school." And so then she comes and like he's not there. What the heck?
Well, and she comes and knocks on the door. Thais is passed out, sound asleep,
Yeah. And the
banging on
chain
the
is on the
door.
door. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she gets up and she's like, "Oh, here he is. Oh,
Yeah.
he must be upstairs. He's upstairs."
And the
He's not.
windows open.
Never ever happened, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they get into like this gnarly car accident. And in the past, in episodes like or I guess really in episode 4, I still don't think we really see the fallout of what's gonna happen
With
to
them.
her wife.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that is really interesting just to see her like losing her mind. So then as we go on, we get this whole episode 3 was probably my least favorite out of the 4. I feel like nothing super critical happened. Shauna gets like carjacked and then she goes and
Yep.
takes the gun and gets her van back. That was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a weird storyline.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then we get Walter Tattersall, which is Misty's like
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of new like love
Love
interest kind
interest,
of
baby.
guy. And this is Elijah Wood, and I think the last time I saw him in anything was when he was doing that Wilfred show, that
Oh,
Australian Wilfred
yes,
show.
yes, yes.
And so it's really good to see him acting again because I like Elijah Wood a lot,
Yeah.
and so I'm really happy to see him doing something like this show, and he's playing such a weird and quirky
Mhm.
character,
It's
and he's
perfect.
he's like a perfect match for Misty, and so yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with him in this show for sure. So I guess the only other like interesting thing I'd really like to touch on for episode 3 is we get all those birds dying in the cabin when the blood falls onto the symbol on the
Yeah.
blanket. There's like this sound and all these birds just fly into the
Yep.
house and die. Sometimes you wonder if there's not really something supernatural happening, but it's like, okay, there's definitely something weird going on.
Yeah.
There's definitely
Yeah.
some like real supernatural
Oh, for sure.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff
dude,
happening.
I haven't the first part of the first season I doubted, but now I'm a firm believer that there is absolutely something magical happening to these girls.
Yeah. So then we go on to episode 4, which is what we just watched. We get some interesting stuff in this episode. Natalie and who's the girl? I forget her name, but the girl that she stabbed.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know.
we get them kind of going on this road trip
Yep.
and they run some errands and they go to like her mom's house and stuff and kind of bond. And I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah, I like that a lot. There's kind of this whole competition between young Natalie and Lottie to bring food back to the cabin, and
Yes.
one is gonna do it with, her rifle, basically
And
Natalie,
Finn
and
will
the
do it with
other
magic, yeah.
do it with magic. And neither of them bring food back, dude. When they lose the moose,
Oh god,
I was
dude.
so like, no, like,
It's
oh,
frustrating because you're like, how the fuck can that even happen?
right.
You had ropes around both antlers, you had people holding onto it. Like the fucker's not gonna just gonna sink by itself.
Right, you had like
You know?
8 people. Like,
Dude, exactly. And so
ah,
it's dude, it just boils down to like a fate thing. Like it was,
yeah.
that's how that was supposed to happen.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
so sad. So back with Natalie and the girl she stabbed, there's this quote that I laughed out loud at, where when they go to the mom's house, she like takes the girl's fish and she like puts it in her mouth and like
Yes.
steals it from the mom because the
Yes.
girl wanted it. And she gets back into the car and she like spits it into like a bottle of water and she's like, "Here's your fucking fish." And just like her, like I don't
Dude, that
even
was a
know.
great, great impression of her, dude.
Yeah,
That's like exactly what she sounds like.
she just sounds like she's high and drunk all the time,
Just
and
fucking hates everybody, dude,
yeah,
and
just
like just
hates
angry at the
everybody.
world. But
Yeah,
she does such a good job, dude. She's
she's
such a fucking incredible actress, dude.
yeah,
Like,
she
oh my
she
gosh,
really is.
I love her. She's probably my favorite actress in the sense of like 1 out of 10 performance wise.
Yeah,
She's it, dude. She's
yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's probably my favorite character for sure.
Yeah,
I
she's
like
awesome.
I like Natalie a lot. And then we get Lottie when she's going on her search for food. We get this whole
Yeah.
like trip thing where she finds the plane that Laura Lee disappeared in, that Laura Lee like exploded in,
Yeah.
and it's like a vision, of course. And she like goes down into the plane and like turns into like this elevator, and she goes into
Goes down
like
this
this
like this
mall.
yes, this huge chute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just so weird. And it's like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, there is some weird stuff happening. And so that whole sequence was super crazy. And then we have three big bombshells at the end here, and we get present day Lottie going up to like this statue in the gardens and dripping blood on it, and she like is praying to it basically, and she says, "Can this just be enough, please?"
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this?
Dude.
What is going on, dude? It is so crazy. Like now, like she's basically just told us that she is sacrificing blood to something. Like something has followed her from the wilderness and is like some sort of god or something. It's really, really wild. And then we get Thaisa and Van in the, you know, 20 years back or whatever. They find Javi. And this
Yes,
was
dude.
surprising. I thought for
Very
sure he was
surprising.
dead.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I think that, he may not be dead, but I think that he is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I
He
think that he is mentally destroyed with whatever happened, whether it's spirits or lack of food or trying to survive. Like, I think he is fucked up.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last kind of bombshell we get is that Van is alive in present
Yes,
day,
dude.
which
Wow,
is,
yeah, I'm
dude,
surprised.
that was not like hinted at all. I don't think
No, dude,
anybody could
yeah.
have seen that coming.
I didn't even know, and I was like, "Who's that?" You're like, "Dude, that's fucking Van, bro."
Yeah,
Yes, you're right, it is.
dude, so wild. And I'm like, okay, who else is alive? Because
Yeah.
I
Where's
thought,
Jackie? Jackie's
yeah.
gotta be here somewhere.
Like I thought we knew all the people that,
Yeah,
you know, were alive in present day. And so that was like a huge bombshell for me, where I was like, what? No way.
yep,
And I just love how this show keeps doing stuff like that. It just keeps dropping bombshells and it never
yes.
really gets old. So yeah, that's kind of season 2 so far. Any final thoughts? Anything that any specific storylines you're excited to see play out?
Dude, I'm just excited for the whole Lottie thing. I wanna see
Mhm.
why she made the cult, what it's really for, if it is for anything,
Yeah.
and her end game. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I would agree.
I know that, like, there's other like, what's gonna happen to Shauna? Is she gonna go to jail, whatever, but, like,
Yeah.
Lottie's my focus right now, dude.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I I would probably agree. I think that I really like the whole like Natalie Lottie kind of storyline that's going on, but I also like Thaisa's whole thing. I really want to know like why she is having these episodes that she's having,
Yep.
and kind of how that'll play in. And then we have like Misty and Elijah Wood, and they were kind of, that was something I forgot to mention, is the kind of comic relief of it all. And
Yeah.
I feel like we've had a lot of good like comic relief. We have like really dark scenes, and we have like really funny scenes. And anytime that Misty was on screen, I was laughing, because her and Elijah Wood just play so well off.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. Awesome.
Yeah, they're fantastic together. So I really like that storyline just for the pure comedy of it all. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, man. I just love this show. I'm really excited to keep going, and I can't wait to see what the finale this
Oh,
season
me too, dude.
is gonna be. So
Me too.
so what do you think? Do you want to do these like every other week or every week, or what are you feeling? If we did it every other week, then you just like watch one episode with Leah and then you watch one episode with me or something.
Yeah, so I think the more that I can watch it with Leah, the better.
Okay.
Only because she
Yeah.
wants to see it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But even that, like, I'm still game to do it, Sunday night for half an hour. We could totally do this
Cool.
if I'm caught up. Yeah.
Nice. All right. All right. Well, thanks for hopping on and chatting about some yellow jackets.
Yeller jackets.
Yeah. And yeah, that's going to wrap us up, guys. Let us know what you think about Yellow Jackets so far down in the comments or over on our Twitter or Discord linked in the description. If you'd like to check out our main channel where we chat with authors and discuss books in the fantasy and sci fi genre, that'll be linked below as well. It's called the Fantasy Files Podcast. As always, subscribing and liking the video helps us out a lot, and we appreciate all the support that we can get. Stay tuned for more of these videos discussing Yellow Jackets, and until next time, try not to eat your friends, no matter how hungry you are.
That's a good one, dude.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do not eat your friends, even
Never.
if all the signs point towards doing it.
Never a good idea.
Never a good idea.